What is up, everyone? We got a stacked NBA slate tonight. Going to wait for some people to get in, and then we will get started here. Got a few props that we're going to talk about tonight that I have, and then we will answer all questions like normal. Hybrid show. First, I'll talk about my props. Then we will go into questions. We'll wait for some time for some people to come in here. All righty. How's everyone doing today? We got a pretty stacked Monday night. I believe we have a 7-game slate tonight, so that's a lot for Monday. Usually it's like 4 or 5. All right, we'll give it 10 more seconds, and then we will get going here. First, we'll get started right now. We'll say, so first, just wanted to remind you all about Thrive Fantasy, a partner of Burd. Thrive Fantasy is a daily fantasy app, sports app, or website, and it is for player props. So if you're watching this show right now, it is likely that this is for you. I mean, if you're watching this, you love player props. So basically what Thrive Fantasy is you get presented 10 prop options. You got to pick 5 of them, and each value over or under is assigned a point total based on how risky it is, based on what the odds are. And the most points at the end of the contest win, based on the 5 that you picked. If you get all 5 right, then you would win a cash prize. If you sign up today with the promo code BURD, BURD, you receive an instant matchup bonus up to $50 with a deposit of at least 20 or more. Be sure to download the Thrive Fantasy app at the App Store, Play Store, or visit their website at thrivefantasy.com. So go check that out. Promo code BURD, BURD, Thrive Fantasy, and we'll get started right now. So what's up, everyone? I see all the comments in here. All right, so going to get started, talk about the 5 props that we have today. So the big thing is people were asking for some visual aid. Obviously, normally if I were to pre-record the video, I would have something behind me that would show, what props I'm talking about, but we finally figured it out and we got the banners here. So first prop that we are going to talk about today is Patrick Williams of the Chicago Bulls over 5.5 rebounds against the Washington Wizards. So the Bulls come into this game without Otto Porter, without Lauri Markkanen, without Wendell Carter. All those guys are out. Wizards are the first-ranked team in the NBA. Bulls are third-pace team. Well, I said first-ranked. Wizards are definitely not the first-ranked. They're first-ranked in pace in the NBA. Chicago is third-ranked in pace in the NBA. So expect, a lot of possessions, fast-paced game. Over-under is up at 236.5. So expect a high-scoring game there. And with a lot of possessions, with a lot of scoring, comes a lot of opportunity to grab rebounds. The Wizards rank 25th in the NBA in opponent rebounds per game at 46.5. Williams has cleared this 5.5 number in his last 3 games, going for 7, 7, and then 10 last game. He's played at least 32 minutes in all 3 of these games, likely because of, all the injuries, everyone out. Again, 3 guys are out: Otto Porter, Lauri Markkanen, Wendell Carter, all guys, in the front court. I like Patrick Williams as a result to go over 5.5 rebounds. You get this at -110 on DraftKings right now. Just between this easy matchup against the Wizards, increased opportunity to rebound with guys out. Yes, Patrick, I got a question here. Is Patrick Williams starting? Yes, he started every game that he's played in this season. So yes, I expect Patrick Williams to start. Now we're going to talk about our next prop here that we have. Get the next banner up here. And we have Kristaps Porzingis at over 8.5 rebounds against the Minnesota Timberwolves. So Kristaps comes into this game averaging 8.3 rebounds per game. Timberwolves ranked 26th in opponent rebounds per game at 47.0. So they don't really have any paint presence, especially without Karl-Anthony Towns, who is doubtful for tonight. I assume he's not going to play. If he is ruled officially out, or if he is ruled in, then this will probably not be a prop. But I expect the Timberwolves to be thin in their front court, thin in the paint, and on big men, since Karl-Anthony Towns is expected to be out again. Kristaps Porzingis has cleared this 8.5 number in 7 of his 13 games this season, 4 of his last 5 games, and Phoenix, Atlanta, and Utah are 3 of these games that he cleared this number in out of his last 5. So those are 3 good rebounding teams, which signals to me that Kristaps is kind of getting back to his rebounding form from last year. Last year, he averaged 9.5 a game. This year, he's only averaging 8.3. I think Kristaps Porzingis has a big game against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Not good guarding the paint and not good rebounding. I think Kristaps has a big game against the Timberwolves. Obviously, you have to worry a little bit about a blowout, which is somewhat of a concern, but the Timberwolves have managed to keep games close lately, so I'm not too worried about that. As a result, I like Kristaps Porzingis over 8.5 rebounds. I think he'll honestly grab probably 10 tonight. And then we have a next one sticking to this game here. Dallas against Minnesota. We have another former Knick, actually. Let me get to this. Let me get to two former Knicks for Dallas here. And that is Tim Hardaway Jr. at over 15.5 points in this game. So Tim Hardaway Jr., again, easy matchup against the Timberwolves. Timberwolves ranked 25th in opponent points per game at 115. Tim Hardaway Jr. has cleared this 15.5 points number in 15 out of 23 games this season, including 8 of his last 11. He's averaging 17 points per game, taking 13.7 shots per game, 8 of which are threes. So think about this. For a guy who is taking 13.7 shots per game, it should not be that hard for him to clear 15.5 points. I know he doesn't get to the line that much, but if you're taking 13.7 shots per game, 8 of which are threes, this should not be hard to get to 15.5 points, especially with a bad Minnesota defense. And look, for a guy that's just shooting at this frequency and shooting the amount of threes he is, again, I don't think it's going to be that hard to go over 15.5 points. So from this game, I like Kristaps over 8.5 rebounds, Tim Hardaway Jr. over 15.5 points. Now we're going to move to our fourth prop, and that is Draymond Green over 7.5 assists or over 14.5 rebounds plus assists. I know some people don't have, can't grab rebounds plus assists depending on what book you bet on. So I threw in over 7.5 assists. I think either one will hit. So Draymond Green, he's getting a ton of minutes lately, a little bit of an increase due to the fact that there is no Kevin Looney, there is no James Wiseman, and there hasn't been any Eric Pascal lately. So he's been getting minutes at that small ball 5. That's where Draymond has been thriving lately. He's been unbelievable. He's looked like vintage Draymond the last 2 or 3 games. Now, Pascal is questionable this game. So if he is in, yes, Draymond will probably see some less minutes, probably in the game, and also less minutes at the small ball 5. That being said, I don't know if Pascal's going to play. He's questionable. But even if he does, I still think that with the centers out, Draymond gets a ton of time at the small ball 5. Draymond's had 15 assists in his last 2 games and 6 rebounds also in his last 2 games. The game before that, he had 11 rebounds and 7 assists. So he's been racking up rebounds, racking up assists. I think he's going to keep doing this in increased minutes. Obviously, it'll help more if Pascal's out, but even with Pascal playing, I still think that against the Spurs, who are, they're not as bad on defense as Dallas, but they're definitely not great. I think that Draymond Green still will clear this assist number, will clear this rebounds plus assist number. His assist percentage was 42.2% last game and 54.5% the game before. Again, he's been killing it on offense. San Antonio, again, aren't as bad as Dallas, but they rank 16th in opponent assists per game, which is not great, and then 28th in opponent rebounds per game, which is not good as well. I like both of these props. I'll probably only bet one of them, but I don't want to double down on it, but I basically gave you the option here because I like rebounds plus assists. If I could get that, I probably will take it. I like that better than 7.5 assists, but a lot of people can't get rebounds plus assists on their books, so I will just go 7.5 assists over that. If you cannot get that, either one is completely fine with me. Now we have a value play that we are going to talk about next. The last prop we're going to talk about, and then we are going to move to questions. Khris Middleton over 2.5 threes. I don't know. So yeah, I'm going to give a lot of statistics to back this up, but there are just some games where I have a feeling like there's some games that I look at that the Bucks play and I'm like, this is a Khris Middleton game. And this is one of these games. Denver. So this is against the Nuggets. If you were not aware already, Khris Middleton over 2.5 threes. That's at plus 118 on FanDuel. So there is some value there. Denver ranks 21st in opponent threes made per game at 13.3. They rank 20th in opponent 3-point attempts at 35.5. So Denver has not been good at defending the 3. They also rank 18th in opponent 3-point percentage at 37.5. I think this will be a very high scoring game. Over under is set at 233 flat. He hit this in 5 of his last 9 games. So he's hit this over 2.5 threes number 5 of his last 9 games, yet it is plus money. He's shooting 46.5% from 3 on 5.6 threes per game. So I think this is just a matter of Khris Middleton shooting 6 or 7 threes in this game rather than 3 or 4. Now he has only shot three threes in 2 of his last 3 games. Both were against the Cavs. Both were blowouts. I believe the Bucks last 4 games were blowouts. I don't think this will be a blowout against Denver. I could be wrong, but I don't think it'll be a blowout. If it is a close game, I think Khris Middleton does go off in this game. I think he shoots probably 6 or 7 threes, especially with this bad Denver Nuggets 3-point defense. And I think that if he's shooting 6 or 7 threes, I feel pretty good about this hitting at over 2.5 threes in this game, especially at plus value. I think it's pretty good value here. So those are my 5 props that I am looking at tonight. And now we will get to questions. Feel free to ask away. All right. Gonna wait for the questions to come in here. We already got some people saying they like some things. How you liking LaMelo Ball points and assists? So yeah, I'm not huge on LaMelo tonight, even though he is starting again because you do have Devontae Graham out. Now I'm going to look at the exact numbers here, but I was going to look at that. But then you know what? Houston is not the Houston of old. They're not going to give up a ton of points. They are actually really, really good on defense. Houston, I mean, since they've got rid of James Harden, they've been great on defense. So now you have LaMelo at over 17.5 points. You have LaMelo for assists, you have him at 7.5. Yeah, so he's been very inconsistent. Like, he'll have his games where he goes for 30 points, and then he'll have his game where he goes for like 11 points. And then, like, you know what I mean? So he's been very inconsistent. Now, I want to read you some Houston Rockets stats. They've been very impressive on defense. They rank, let me get this up right here. They rank 6th in opponent points per game. They rank 1st in opponent assists per game. So that's a major reason why I don't like LaMelo. I think the Houston defense is really good. So I'm not huge on LaMelo points or assists tonight. Points is kind of low, but I'm not huge on it. It's low for a reason. Oladipo over 22.5. Yeah, I mean, theoretically that should hit. Everyone's out. Wall's out. Gordon's out. Wood is out. Should hit. I know it's moved up to like 23 or 24 now, but if you got it at 22.5, I like that. Oladipo over 4.5 rebounds. So yes, they're against Charlotte. Charlotte is not a good rebounding team. They're a decent rebounding team, actually. Oh, no, never mind. 22nd in opponent rebounds per game. So they're not good rebounding. The thing is, Oladipo, some of these guards, they're so inconsistent with rebounding. Now, again, I know that a lot of guys are out. Let me just look at Victor's latest rebounding games here. Because, yeah, I mean, I'm much bigger. If you could get him at 22.5 points, I like that probably better than rebounds. But, yeah, he's averaging 5.2 rebounds per game. So, okay, theoretically, yes. But then last few games, 6 rebounds, 3 rebounds, 3 rebounds, 6, 7, 5. Yeah, so he's hit it in 4 of his last 6. But I'm not huge on it just because I think that there is, again, there's a little bit of an inconsistency that I don't love there. We got somebody here who says they got Oladipo at 19.5 points. That's great value. 22.5, I like that as well. Oladipo at 4.5 rebounds. I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. All right. Aiden and Giannis double-double. Okay, so DeAndre Aiden double-double should be easy. I know his rebounding prop is down to 11.5 tonight, which I looked into hard because he's been killing that pretty much every night. It is a tough rebounding matchup against the Cavs in a slow-paced game against Andre Drummond. Not exactly ideal, so I decided to stay away from his rebounding prop tonight, but I don't think it's a bad bet for him to get a double-double. Now, Giannis, I think, is a good bet to get a double-double as well. If you parlay them, you probably get some decent odds there. Thaddeus Young over 25.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. Yeah, I think that Thaddeus Young could have a solid night. The only reason I didn't bet him in terms of the rebounding prop is because it was up to 7.5, and I just thought Patrick Williams was just a better line at 5.5. But I did look into Thaddeus Young a bit. Let me just get his. Yeah. So the thing is, Thaddeus Young, he was going off, and then he kind of slowed down a little bit the last few games. But with all these front court guys out, he's not going to start, but he should be pretty good again tonight. Let me just check his last few games once again, just to add up some numbers for you. Now, so you got to assume his points prop, I believe, is like 13 or 15 last few games. So he's had 19. So no, never mind. He's had 11, 4 and 3, 15, 5 and 7. He's gone 19, 4 and 2. So yeah, I mean, I'm not huge on it. They've slowly started to raise it. When I said it in my Discord chat, I told people to take him a short time ago, a few games ago, and it was down to like 20.5. That was where you could have got it. Now I think they're really adjusting to it. So despite front court guys being out, I'm not huge on it, but they are playing the Wizards. So I do think that, he could have a bigger scoring game than normal, which will help him out, but he has not been rebounding or getting as much assists in the last few games. I think that's partially because of the emergence of Patrick Williams on the board. So I'm kind of neutral on this one. Thaddeus Young, 25.5 points, rebounds, assists. DeMarcus Cousins over 34.5 points, rebounds, assists. That is something that I don't like. I'm not huge on that at all. And just again, just inconsistency with Cousins. He's had the games where he's gone 20, 28, and 17, and then he'll have the games where he's in foul trouble. I know Wood is out. It's just Cousins is not what he used to be. Booker over 5.5 assists if Chris Paul is out. Yeah, so I like a lot of Booker's props if Chris Paul is out. I think we saw what Chris Paul did when Booker was out, and I think Booker will do the same thing if Chris Paul is out. We saw what Booker did last year with Chris Paul not on his team. So I do think that Booker's props are going to be very appealing if Chris Paul is out. We're going to have to wait to see whether that happens or not. All right, keep sending more questions, and we will answer them. Send them all in. See, let's make sure this is going on Twitter. All right, we got some more in. Keep sending them in. All righty. Josh Richardson over 1.5 threes, Zach LaVine under 30.5 points. So we'll start with Richardson here. I already spoke a little bit about this horrible Timberwolves defense. Josh Richardson's been pretty good lately. Like he's been picking up his play a little bit more, which is good to see because that was supposed to be a good acquisition for Dallas, and he hadn't done really much at all this season. But he's been picking it up. Now let me just look at his. Now again, Minnesota they're not good at guarding anything. They can't guard the three either. If you look at 3-pointers made for Minnesota against Minnesota, okay, actually. They're not good on general defense, but they are good at three. They don't allow a lot of 3-point shots attempted, which is weird. So the Timberwolves actually rank first in opponent threes attempted per game at 30.6. They rank sixth in opponent threes made at 11.4. Their percentage against is all the way down at 17th at 37.4. So for some reason, teams don't shoot a lot against them from three. I think the reason is because they just haven't had Towns back, so they haven't had a big paint presence, and as a result, teams are going down low and going inside rather than chucking threes against them. Now, just looking at Josh Richardson here from his last few games, well, on the season, he's shooting 5.5 threes per game, and the last few games, he's gone 4 made threes, 2 made threes, 1 made, 2 made. So the answer is, yeah, I don't mind it at all, despite Timberwolves just not really letting up a ton of threes. I don't mind this bet just because his recent form, he is shooting a lot more threes and he is playing a lot better. So I don't mind threes at all. I think his points prop at 12.5, I think that's probably a decent bet as well. Now, Zach LaVine under. Okay, so you had 2-part question. Zach LaVine under. Yeah, I wouldn't do it against the Wizards. The Wizards defense is so bad. That's not the defense you want to rely on. I'm pretty sure FanDuel moved up LaVine's prop to 31.5, which is crazy. I know 30.5 seems insane for LaVine, but like I've watched Washington all year, they are atrocious on defense, like one of the worst of all time. So I don't think you could bet on that. I understand the idea of it being a high line, but I don't think against Washington, I don't think you do it. Jokic over 20.5 points. This will strictly depend on whether or not Jamal Murray is out. If Jamal Murray is out, then I'm good with it. If Jamal Murray plays, then I would not do it. I lean if Jamal Murray plays, then you're going to get less shot attempts from Jokic. Now, let's also remember Milwaukee has Brook Lopez and Giannis in the paint. Milwaukee ranks third in the NBA in opponent points per game in the paint at 42.5. So, look, they're not good defending the three. Jokic will probably get a few threes in there, but if Jamal Murray plays, shot attempts will be taken away from him, and I ultimately don't think that Jokic will – I'm not huge on Jokic over. I don't want to say he won't go over it because he's Jokic, but I'm not huge on it if Jamal Murray plays. Now, if Jamal Murray is out, then I'd be a lot more into it. What do you like more? Kyle Lowry over 5.5 assists or Giannis over 26.5 points? All right, so so Toronto is playing Memphis. Memphis they're not good against assists. I remember looking at this line earlier in the day. Okay, so Memphis ranks 23rd in opponent assists per game at 25.7. Lowry 5.5. I believe when I saw it was at 6.5. I'm not sure. This could be obviously a different book, but I do like it at 5.5 for sure against Memphis. Like I like that a lot. Now, if we're deciding it between Giannis 26.5, again, Denver's pretty solid in the paint, 12th in points in the paint, but it's Giannis. I'd probably lean towards Lowry assists over Giannis points here. Even though I think this will be a high scoring game, but I lean more towards Giannis points. I lean more towards Lowry assists over Giannis points. Instead of Giannis points, I lean Lowry assists. Luka over 2.5 threes. So yeah, again, the same thing as Josh Richardson. And I don't mean this because obviously Luka is a top 10 player, top 7 player. You could even, some people would maybe even argue top 5. But for whatever reason, these teams are not shooting a lot against Minnesota from 3. They're first in opponent 3-pointers attempted against them per game. For whatever reason, teams aren't shooting a lot. Teams aren't making a ton either. Now, looking at Luka's last few games here, let me just look at his threes last year. I know he hit a bunch of threes against the Warriors last game, a national TV game. You always get a guy showing up a little bit more. Before that, so his last few games, 7 threes made, 3 made threes, 1, 3, 2, 2. Yeah, I'm not huge on it tonight. I don't think he explodes like he did last game against this Minnesota 3-point defense. Or I don't want to phrase it like that because I think he'll have a good game. Like I had him in my stars as stars and scrubs. I don't think he shoots enough threes to guarantee you 2.5, if that makes sense. Schroder over 15.5 points. I actually think I like Kuzma better than Schroder tonight. Probably Kuzma and Harrell. And the reason why is because Oklahoma City's points in the paint defense is so bad. And obviously we know Davis is out, so Kuzma's going to get increased time there. He's going to get the start. I'm much more of a fan of Kuzma and probably Harrell as well over Schroder tonight. Any more questions we got here? Just a reminder, if you are in this, be sure to check out Thrive Fantasy, promo code Burd, BURD. It's a daily fantasy app for player props. If you're watching this, if you know player props well, it's a great place for you to check out, especially with this great deposit bonus. All right, any more questions we got here? Pretty big slate. So for anybody who joined late, just going to go over my 5 props that I'm looking into today while we wait for more questions to pour in. Patrick Williams over 5.5 rebounds. Kristaps Porzingis over 8.5 rebounds. Tim Hardaway Jr. over 15.5 points. Draymond Green over 7.5 assists or over 14.5 rebounds plus assists. Value play here, Khris Middleton over 2.5 threes at plus 118. Do we have any other questions? Going to look a little bit more into, wait, let me get this Khris Middleton banner down. I'm going to look a little bit more into the Dennis Schroder question that you just asked, because I'm curious to see what his recent games are like. Despite, I still do stand by liking Kuzma and Harrell a lot more than Schroder tonight. Yeah, he has had 3 good games in a row recently, stringing together 16, 21, and 22, but I don't think it'll be sustainable. Luka triple-double tonight. Yeah, I think it could happen. So let me read a quick excerpt that I wrote for my Stars and Scrubs show on Sal Vetri's channel that was up. It's still up right now on his channel. You can check it out if you're playing DFS. But this is what I talked about earlier in the day. Luka was one of my star plays of the day at 11,000. Hopefully this game's not a blowout because that would kill chances of a lot of things. But Timberwolves rank 25th in opponent points per game at 115, 26th in opponent assists per game at 26.1, 26th in opponent rebounds per game at 47. Obviously, this is great for a guy like Luka Doncic, who's averaging 27.9 points per game, 9.5 assists per game, and 8.7 rebounds per game. Look, Luka, as long as he gets the minutes, as long as it's a close game, I could easily see a triple-double happening against this Minnesota defense. Valanciunas double-double. How many minutes do you think he plays? Yeah, so he first came back last game. They brought him off the bench. I guess they're just trying to ramp up his stamina before he gets fully back into it, before they start him again. They play against Toronto. Toronto is not a great rebounding team. Also, it's against his former team. Interesting. Toronto ranks 17th, tied 17th in opponent rebounds per game at 45. averaging a double-double on the season. He only played 24 minutes last game, came off the bench. First time he's coming off the bench in a game all season, but he did have 23 and 7 last game, even off the bench against New Orleans, nonetheless. That's impressive. New Orleans is good down low, obviously. Steven Adams and Zion. Yeah, I don't mind the Valanciunas double-double against a Raptors team that struggles to rebound. I don't mind it. I think he's going to play in the mid-20s again in minutes. That's the only thing. Porzingis over 21.5 points. Yeah, I looked hard at this prop. I don't mind it, but I think that it's Kristaps been average to not great this season. I'm more convinced on rebounds than points, but Minnesota is not good at defending the paint. They rank 28th in opponent points per game in the paint at 51.5. So I want to say I'm somewhere between neutral and yes on it. I'm not a full yes, but I'm also not a full, but I'm also in between there and neutral somewhere. All right. Any more questions we got before we head off for the day? Thank you all for watching once again. Gotta love doing these live shows. And by the way, for anybody watching here, if you want my player props on Tuesdays and on Thursdays, be sure to join my Patreon in the link in the description below. I do player prop podcasts sort of just like this, where at the beginning where I go through the props that I like on the day, the reason why. So those podcasts are on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Also with the Patreon, you get access to the exclusive Discord where we discuss props pretty much every single day. You ask me any questions you want in the Discord, I'll always be around to answer. So be sure to check that out. All right, that it looks like we are done for the day. Remember to check out Thrive Fantasy. Promo code BURD, B-U-R-D. You get a deposit match up to $50 with your deposit of $20 or more. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon in the link below. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at sports_Burd. And be sure to like this video and subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't already. It really helps me out. Goodbye, everyone, and good luck with your prop betting.